guys, Chris here with Agri Stainless. We're just on our way to Red Deer for the AgriTrade show in November here. Coming along and we're getting close to Swift Current, so we figured we would duck off and see a customer of ours who did a full rebuild on his 1910 air cart. He put a bunch of trick stuff on it, and we're pretty excited to go out and have a look at it because he just finished it up 2 weeks ago, maybe even less. So he's just in Hazlet, so we're gonna go duck up just north of Swift Current to go and see him and go over his rebuild and see what he did and what he was having problems with. And then we'll continue on and head to Red Deer for the AgriTrade show, which is gonna be great. How's it going, guys? It's Chris here with Agri Stainless. Out with Oren. We're in Hazlet, Saskatchewan. Hazlet, Saskatchewan.
Unbelievable.
I'm gonna hold that. I'm gonna hold on to that for a long time. It's the third time he's done that to me. Oren owns a 550 1910. He's got a Seedmaster over there. It's a 7010.
Yep.
He's just gone over his 1910 this year. He's done a bunch of work on the Seedmaster too, but this year was the year for the 1910. He's having a lot of issues with it.
Yep. Yep. A lot of pressure.
Tank pressure.
Yep.
Metering issues.
Yep. Yep. Broken agitator arms.
Broken agitator arms. So on the standard factory meter, there's a steel bushing in the center between your disconnects, and even though it's a stainless agitator, that collar will rust jack and bind, and you'll eventually be twisting that agitator shaft over and over and over again until it snaps. You found two?
Yep. Two of them were cooked by the end of the season. Somehow one survived, but yeah.
On his old stuff, the meters that he's got in the shop on a pallet, there's one that's 50 pounds, there's another one that's 50 pounds, and then there's another meter that's 75 pounds. They're all the same, but they're packed in the walls, fertilizer and chaff. Debris is packed in there. Here's the old stuff. Bound right up. This is the one with a broken agitator shaft?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's seized right in the middle. Oh yeah, notice the difference in weight. Like this is your front tank. This was your typical seed tank, right?
Yes, yeah.
And this one weighs like 50 pounds. This one is like probably another 20 pounds heavier.
Filled with fertilizer.
Filled right in here, yeah.
Oh yeah.
You can see it's rotting through here, right?
Yep. And yeah, if you actually look, you look in here, like it's,
oh yeah, yeah. No, you didn't have much longer.
No. Well, that was why that middle tank got swapped from the 340.
Right.
Is because I went to slide the meters in the one spring and it just didn't go in because it was all swollen up to the point where I couldn't even slide it. And that was that panic, like, hi, can you send that like yesterday, please?
Yes, yeah, right now. Express freight, please.
Trying to seed tomorrow and we need to completely dismantle this thing.
Anyways, he's done a full rebuild on this cart. So everything from inside the tanks, he's pulled all the ladders, he's pulled the lids and the lid kits, all the bracketry and hardware in there, he's pulled it all out. Had it all, the ladders and above, all the bracketry, sent it away to Saskatoon.
Yep.
Got it all blasted, powder coated because it was still in decent shape, just like surface rusting and flaking.
Yeah.
What'd you pay for the powder coating?
$550 up there.
$500.
Yeah.
So before you rust through your ladders and they get in tough shape, and you gotta buy stainless. Stainless is half the cost of new ladders, but before you have to go there, typically guys can get them sandblasted and powder coated. You can save some money that way.
Yeah,
and
turned out good.
And it looks really good. We'll show you the video of that. So all of this now has been powder coated. Ladders to level sensors, covers, end brackets, all the way down to his tank pressure kit running down the ladder here. Through his bulkhead in the tank. Did a nice job of that too.
Yeah. No,
looks really good.
Looks really nice.
That's how it's supposed to be done. All the way down. Now his ladder's not going to corrode, it's all powder coated. It's going to last a lot longer. What he's done is from the funnel inside the tank all the way down on all three tanks. All new piping. His piping was getting pretty rotten.
Yeah.
And it all kind of happens at the same time. There's nothing really you can do about it. Doesn't matter how well you clean out either. It's always somewhere. Once you kind of go silver, you have a whole new love for this cart. So you just finished this cart 2 weeks ago?
Not even a week ago, yeah.
A week ago. He's a hydraulic drive 1910, it's a 550. And so we got the funnel inside, we got our mounting plates, we got our hydraulic meter housings in here. He doesn't have his meter rollers in here yet. And see inside, no more plastic seed cups or anything like that. What he's done below here is he's rebuilt his lower manifold. Now this comes at a lower cost price. So this is good for a lot of guys, a lot of growers. This is a lot cheaper option. And you can forget about having seized top and bottom chute slides anymore. It is a little bit of work though.
Yeah, they were paying to get out, but worth it.
It's a lot of work. If you ever have to go to, but if they're in good shape and they don't need to be done, well, you can just keep them. It is a bit of a bear to rebuild these, and so there is stainless options available. But if they're in perfectly good shape and you got the time, why not? So we've done the stainless meters, the hydraulic drive meters, the rebuilt the lower manifolds on all new piping. Plenum was okay.
Yep, yeah, it was good shape still.
The coolest thing she's done is install these tank pressure kits. This is probably the cheapest thing you can do to a 1910. Like they were $280, something like that. It's a little bit of hose and a $280 kit. What this does is we get rid of all the factory tank pressure routing. So John Deere's are exceptionally bad. He was having issues with it, with losing tank pressure. We have issues metering. What were you having issues? Which crops?
Oh, everything.
Everything.
Yeah,
okay.
it was just all filled with fertilizer in the rear tank and the middle tank, and then it just wasn't metering right. You could tell from the front tank, which doesn't see fertilizer,
right,
to when I was using the middle tank with seed as well. I guess Derm would be the easiest to notice because that's when I'd run them both with Derm in them. And
right.
Yeah, they were never the same.
Right.
Yeah, it was kind of fiddling with it to try and get the same seed rate, but it was most likely just pressure issues.
Right.
Yeah.
And so what'll happen is when you lose tank pressure and you don't have the exact same amount of tank pressure that you do in the tank as you do in the piping below, it's easier for the air in your lower piping to essentially fill your tank. It's a path of least resistance. So it's easier, you have a higher pressure below your meter than you do in your tank. So it's easier for air to go back up into the meter and try and fill the tank that way versus product trying to drop down. If you have equal pressure below and above, then it just uses gravity. We use gravity to essentially meter. So when the John Deere's will plug up inside this meter housing here through overfilling, you get product into the top of the ladder post and it starts to fill inside the meter, you can't clean it out. And then you start gradually, like this is a 2014, 15, 16?
13, I think, actually.
13.
Yeah.
So it's like typically like 7 to 10 years guys start having issues. So he's got an exceptional life out of it. Once you go with these tank pressure valves, this replicates the new C-Series carts or the newer carts from John Deere. So this is going to give you direct pressure to the tank. So we now select top chute and bottom chute pressure from this valve. So we'll select, pull for top chute, then we're going to turn this valve and select top chute. And middle tank, we're putting into the bottom chute, we're going to select bottom chute. It's very easy. And then now we have direct pressure to the tanks at all times. Now this is like the cheapest thing you can do. Probably it's something I'd recommend to everybody. It wasn't something you did in the beginning.
No, I didn't even know
we talked about it later and we said see you later.
Yeah. I was fighting with it and I was like, there's got to be something better. And you sent actually a picture, I think,
right,
and had that. And I was like, I think I want that.
Yeah. And no matter what, the biggest thing with it is if you start to have tank pressure issues because you have a plug inside your meter housing or inside your ladder posts, it's time to go seeding, and it could be a 3-day ordeal. Like you got to take all your pipes off, your lower manifolds off. You got to try and blow out your meter housing in that little orifice dual wall in that meter housing, or pull your ladders out, and you've shredded seals. Now you got to scrape it off, go to your local Deere dealer, or hopefully they have stock on seals. And meanwhile, rain's coming and you're trying to go seeding. As long as the hoses are hooked up, you'll have tank pressure. So no matter what, you'll have tank pressure, and that's the biggest thing.
I'd say the big thing too is these little plastic boxes down here for the selecting of the top chute, bottom chute of it.
Right.
When I pulled it apart, they were all full of dirt.
Right.
So most people take the hoses off and blow them out, get the dirt out of them because they're usually full.
Right.
But if you got a little bit of moisture if you're at night in the dew, it just seems to pack these right full of mud.
That's right.
And when I pulled them apart, I was stunned. Like it was piles of dirt coming out. I was like, well, no wonder nothing's working.
That's right, 100%.
That's it right there.
Totally. And that's another thing too, is we'll go back over here, we'll talk about the air guard system. Put an air guard system on for a few reasons. Well, one was like we're now pulling, like when your fan's directly behind your tires, you'd be getting straw, dust, build up a little bit. Just the fan's constantly pulling in, if you're in dusty conditions especially, right? The snorkel kit from AirGuard helps with that. You're pulling air now from a cleaner spot, a lot better that way. The other reason, he's put an AirGuard blockage prevention system on here. So this is a hydraulic cooler that is bolted to the inlet side of the fan, pulls air through the snorkel kit. The snorkel kit's optional, but it's pretty well needed. Otherwise, you're constantly having to clean out that radiator that's in there, especially when it's like tow between or a tow behind cart kind of acts the same. You're either catching chaff and dirt off the back of the tractor or off the back of the cart.
Yeah.
So the snorkel kit's a big help. With the fan, even just the snorkel kit, like he was saying, like the selector valves packing full of dirt. Like if you can be pulling air from a cleaner spot, you can have a lot less issues that way as well. I want to go over a little bit like why you wanted to go with a blockage prevention system from AirGuard.
Yeah, primarily, as soon as you get a little bit of dew at night or something,
Yep.
we got the intelligent egg sensors on the toolbar. And so you get a little bit of dew, fertilizer's got a little powder in it, and it would just pack on all the sensors, all the fertilizer ones. And then you get alarms.
You got 70-10, so you got how many shanks?
Well, we got, this is, actually it's down to 66, but it's got 80 runs. So you spend 2 hours out there, undo every hose, chisel it off, put it back together.
Right.
It's
The
a
little
nightmare.
stainless diaphragm in the intelligent egg sensor, it's very good.
Yeah.
But even if it's an optical sensor, doesn't matter, because if you're covering that eye with dusty, high moisture fertilizer, every blockage monitor is just gonna start barking at you at 7, 8 o'clock at night when that dew's setting in, the sun's going down.
Yeah.
Same thing in the morning. And so this is huge. This will lower humidity like 50%, and it'll also cool a hydraulic oil. Like you need a fair bit of hydraulics to run.
Yeah.
Well, the fan doesn't take so much, but the down pressure on the Seedmaster, right?
Yeah.
And
exactly.
so, is that, what kind of pump are you running on that tractor?
This is the 78.
Oh, okay. So you got enough. You got enough hydraulics.
But I do notice that throughout the day, if it's a hot day, it changes the like the fan speed and stuff like that.
Right.
It just as the temperature fluctuates. So hopefully this kind of holds it a bit more steady.
Right. And typically, like you'll, depending on the outside, obviously outside ambient temperature, that's what's going to be cooling your oil, right? Is outside ambient temperature that you're pulling through this cooler. But you can lower your hydraulic temps from 50, maybe up to 60 degrees, but minimum on a hot day, you're 20 or 30 degrees Fahrenheit is what you're going to be cooling your hydraulic with. So that's good too. Like you got $20,000, $10,000 hydraulic pumps, and it's like, it's putting metal throughout everything. But he did it for the main reason of like, we're hopefully no longer going to, if it's 1 or 2 maybe, that'd be a lot better, but not to do 100 and some sensors to pull the hoses off of the Seedmaster and scrape a little bit of fertilizer that's built up either on the, if you're Agtron or whatever, on the optical eye, or intelligent egg on that stainless diaphragm. Just, you got to scrape that off so your blockage will work and it's not yelling at you all the time. It drives you nuts. So that's a big thing.
It's hours. You'll lose 2-3 hours of just sitting there scraping. It's
every morning, and it's the toughest thing too, because you're working against the clock.
Oh yeah. And
you don't know when to stop, and then it's like, oh, I went too late.
Yeah.
So
and now you're paying for it.
He's also running a stainless conveyor. So the stainless conveyor he ran for 2 years.
Oh, more than that. We had it on the old cart too.
Right, he had it on
that for almost 5 years, possibly.
He put a long conveyor on his cart that needed a short conveyor, but it still bolts up. That's fine.
Yeah, we knew the 550 was coming one day.
But he knew a 550 was coming on the farm, so he was already pre-buying it for his next cart. So thinks ahead a lot. The conveyor's been good though.
Solid. Yeah. Well, the other one, you get a little rust on the inside of the metal one, and it pretty much turns into sandpaper, and we're just blowing through conveyor belts.
That's
so now it's no problem.
Conveyor belts are not cheap. Like,
no.
Typically from your local dealer, they're $5,900, something like that. But
yeah,
they're crazy. Yeah. Thank you so much for having us out.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
of course.
Cool.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
No worries. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks, guys.